What I really want you to know and understand is that it's so easy to neglect our homes and fall into a rut or stop seeing them. But really, they are one of our most important creations. They're where we wake and set the tone for the day. And they really are where we can experiment on ideas of who we want to be. And styling is your secret weapon to creating a home that you can love every day.
Welcome to Imprint, a podcast about creating a home and life you love. I'm Natalie Walton, an interior designer, stylist, and best-selling author focused on an holistic approach to homes. Each week, I'm sharing insights and interviews about the creative process to help you enhance both your interiors and well-being, as well as provide you with the tools and resources to make considered and sustainable choices with all that you create.
Hello everyone, welcome to Imprint. I'm excited to have you join me today because it is the start of a bumper week of episodes that are all focused on how can you create a home to love. And basically, I thought it might be helpful to share some of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my career as a leading interior stylist and, having worked in the interiors industry for the past 15 years. And of course, through my own personal experience. And each day, I'm going to be focusing on a different topic to help you wherever you're at with your own home and creative journey. So today, I'm going to be sharing how you can refresh your home without needing to go to the expense or time of a renovation. So all the time I get asked about, how can you improve your home working with what you've got, or if you don't have the budget to renovate. And the truth is that so many of the changes that I've made in my own homes have all been about because of styling. I'm often rearranging my spaces, arranging objects, and really have, learnt through trial and error and years of experience, knowing and understanding the art and science of styling. Because when it comes to the function of your home, those very specific things like getting storage right in a sort of inbuilt sense, that's about renovating, making changes to your floor plans, making those structural changes, whereas styling is really about working with what you've got. So you're going to find this episode really helpful if you feel like your home doesn't look and feel right, but you're not really quite sure of why. Or maybe you're in a little bit of a creative rut and you've got a good sense of what you do and don't like, when you see it, but you've actually stopped seeing your spaces and really would love to fall in love with them again. Or maybe you're renting and you can't make structural changes, so you really do need to work with what you've got. So often when we think about making changes in our homes, we give up because we think it's too hard or we don't have the time or money. And our kind of primitive brains really, they don't like change and they just want to keep us safe and living in the kind of same old patterns. But that high functioning part of our brains, the prefrontal cortex, it knows that we need to grow and evolve. And so that's what this episode's really going to be about, sharing ways that you can personally grow and evolve and sort of step into, making changes to your home so it's a place that you can truly love, but also sort of learning some of those tools and strategies and how you can implement them. Because what I really want you to know and understand is that it's so easy to neglect our homes and fall into a rut or stop seeing them. But really, they are one of our most important creations. They're where we wake and set the tone for the day. And they really are where we can experiment on ideas of who we want to be. And styling is your secret weapon to creating a home that you can love every day. Now, I'm going to be going into these ideas in depth in my course, The Styling Masterclass, which is currently open for enrollment. So if you resonate with me and the lessons that I share in this podcast, I just want to remind you that if your home is important to you and you're ready to finally take action and create the home that you want, a place that lights you up when you walk through the front door, You've just got a few days left to enroll in the Styling Masterclass. Doors are closing soon, and this is the last time the course will be offered at this price. I was actually talking to somebody who works in the world of marketing recently, and she said this course should actually be double the price that I'm currently, offering it for. So I don't know if I'm quite ready to take that step of kind of going to double, but certainly in terms of the amount of value that's in there, it really is like incredibly good value at the price that it's at. So if you want to finally feel confident creating beautiful interiors, like the ones that you see in your favorite social feeds on Instagram or books, now is a time to learn a process that will actually get you results. So I've added a link in the show notes to take you straight to the enrollment page, or you can go to nataliewalton.com/the styling masterclass. And I love this course so much, and I really, love helping you to learn how to create beautiful, authentic interiors with clarity and confidence. So again, if you're interested in learning more, go to nataliewalton.com/the styling masterclass. Okay, so let's get into today's episode, because I really want you to understand that, if you have goals and dreams for your life, you need to take action. And so I hope you're going to find today's episode super valuable to, helping you understand which areas you need to take action on. Because, the reality is that there are some challenges that you might be facing with making your home the best it can be. Most likely, time is an issue and you really struggle to find the time to make it happen. Or perhaps, money. Right now, maybe you feel like you don't have the budget to kind of go and make those big structural changes, but you still would like to make your home a beautiful place that you can enjoy every day, you and your family. Or maybe it's an issue related to confidence and you're just kind of not sure what to do, which steps to take, and how best to kind of go about this process. So what I want you to know is that you can learn how to free up your time and manage it better. I've actually got this process that I engage with every single Monday morning, and I call it the Power Hour process because it takes just an hour, but I map out my entire week in that hour and really get clarity on what are the most important tasks that I need to be doing that week. I give all the details on this in a mini course that I created within the Styling Masterclass. I've actually got 3 mini courses within the Styling Masterclass, and one of them is called Make Your Time Count. And it's really about how you can plan your time every week, every month, quarter, and every year. And some really simple strategies so that you're really making the most of your time. So I'm really excited to share that with you, because I often get asked, like, how do you get so much done? You just do so many things. Well, it's because I'm really strategic about how I use my time. And it actually gives me so much freedom. I was talking to a friend the other day and, she was sort of saying, it just seems crazy to her to kind of plan so far out. But for me, and I was trying to say this to her and explain this, is that, when I have got a very clear idea of how I'm spending my time, what's coming up for me, it actually gives me a great sense of freedom within myself that, I kind of know what I'm doing and I'm not going to be on the back foot with anything. So anyway, for those of you who struggle with time, I think you're going to find that really, really valuable. Now, in relation to money, the good news is that you can definitely learn to work with what you've got, and you can learn how to harness your creativity. I truly believe that everybody is born creative. I think that, our schooling systems and a whole bunch of other things kind of get it knocked out of us, and we lose our confidence in our innate creativity. I mean, any of you who are parents, you will know how creative children are innately and how that's how they express themselves and that's how they communicate. And that's why I think the home is such a beautiful area where you can start kind of reconnecting with these ideas and, re-exploring, your own creativity. So there are definitely ways that you can learn how to make the most of what you've got and know how to optimize certain objects within your home and different strategies. So, I think that's really helpful to know. And then, of course, when it comes to confidence, I think that, we think that, yes, maybe some people are born with confidence, but you don't actually need to feel confident. Instead, all you need to do is actually follow a step-by-step system. And that framework will create the confidence for you because you'll get more certainty about, okay, what are the steps that I need to take? I know for me, when I was working on an interior magazine and I was kind of getting this little whisper within that I should, I really wanted to explore the idea of styling and give it a try. And I just didn't know if I could do it. And so I was on photo shoots all the time and really started to observe, like, what were the other stylists doing? How were they organizing themselves? What changes were they making to their spaces? And basically, I then started to piece together a system and a process together so that by the time I did that first shoot, I had a little bit of a framework in place so I knew what to do. Because literally, and I still can't quite believe this, nobody actually told me what I had to do. So I was, the editor agreed, yes, I'd love you to kind of go and do, style a shoot. And, she said, go and have a look and see, what they do or whatever. But nobody actually kind of gave me like a checklist or like, a process or said, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, and X, Y, and Z. And so it really was just something that I had to piece together. And it helped me with that first shoot, although that first shoot took me a ridiculous amount of time in terms of the preparation and just lacking the confidence in sort of doing the styling. But obviously, that was a long time ago now. That's probably close to 15 years ago, or at least 12. No, my son is 15. So yeah, it's very close to 15 years ago. And so obviously you can imagine, like, now I don't even need to think, it's so instinctive. But that's what I really think was valuable to kind of like step out that process within the styling masterclass and other resources that I share so that you can kind of have that framework to follow. Because when you have a framework, it feels so much easier. And of course, for me, like, that was sort of like that one of those big aha moments is that when you follow a process, styling is actually quite simple. You just need to get out of your head and into action. So, maybe think about like where you are on your journey right now and how confident do you feel about styling and how much of a process have you got when it comes to styling your spaces? Because, as I said, I really believe that styling is kind of like your secret weapon to creating a home that you can love every day. So I'm going to share some big ideas with you that can help you refresh your home without the need to renovate. And I'm going to kind of go through some of these in detail, and I hope that you're going to find it really valuable. So the first idea that I want to share with you is that you should really simplify before you style. I really encourage you to edit what you've got to create clarity about what you need to improve or source. I'm just going to say that again because it might seem really simple, but it's really important. You've got to edit what you've got to create clarity about what you need to improve or which items to source. So what do I mean about edit what you've got? You really need to be intentional when you create your spaces to know that everything is there for a reason and that you're not just living by default. And one of the problems is that so often you can end up that you don't even see your spaces. You kind of just live by default and you walk into your home and you do your tasks and you've got your rhythms and your routines and you kind of stop seeing your spaces. And that's why I think it's always great when you come home from a holiday and you step into your home, it's like you see it with fresh eyes again. And I really encourage you to sort of take a moment right now to kind of try and create that experience for yourself. Step through your front door as if you're seeing it for the first time and really see what you've got, because you need to simplify first. You need to edit your spaces first before you kind of go in and start rearranging your spaces. And this idea of simplifying, it's such a key ingredient in refreshing your home, because it's like the stuff that we don't actually want. It's like the dust balls in the corner of our home. If you think of that as an analogy, all those things that we don't actually need, it's just kind of like dust. and we really want to get rid of that because it's just not serving us. So, and I also really want you to understand that styling isn't shopping. I think so many people think that styling is kind of going out and buying things. And certainly that's what I used to think before I started on my styling journey. So, I want you to know and understand that isn't the situation when it comes to styling. It's actually so much more than that. I actually had a little while ago, one of the students from the Styling Masterclass, Alana Clark from Low Tide Living on Instagram. And she said, the best part is that I now view my home and its contents in a whole new light. I didn't feel the need to buy anything new to complete my styling assignments. I simply shopped my home and rediscovered pieces that I'd owned for years. And this is what I really encourage you to do if you're looking to refresh your home. Like I said, step into your front door, through your front door as if you're stepping into your home for the first time. But also look at the objects around your home with fresh eyes. Think, what can you repurpose? What can you move into another space? What might work better somewhere else? These are really all important questions that you can ask yourself, and almost just walk through every room of your home and look for things that you can maybe move to another area to really give a new sense of life to your spaces. Because even just doing that can really help you refresh your spaces and give it a whole new life and energy. And within the Styling Masterclass, as I mentioned, I've got 3 mini courses in there, and one of them is called Simplify Spaces, and it really is how you can simplify your spaces, obviously, before you start styling, because really editing away the things that you don't need is really important. And then you can learn to elevate the items that really need to have, a little bit more of a spotlight. And we're going to get into that. I think it's a really unrecognized and sort of overlooked area of styling, this idea of editing and simplifying your spaces. So just have a think about, where are you with that right now? If you were to sort of put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of how much you have edited your spaces, how much you've simplified your spaces, 1 being, you really need to do a lot of work in this area, and 10 being that you feel quite confident. Think about where you are on that scale, and that if you were to put in the time and effort to improve this, then what impact that could have on your home and also on you and how you could enjoy your spaces. I think, these are some really good questions that you can ask yourself. So the second idea that I wanted to share with you, and or step, I guess, that you can take to refresh your home, is that you can change your layouts to improve the way that you experience your spaces. So often, again, we live by default and we stop seeing the way that things are. And when we first move into our homes, we kind of put furniture or objects in a particular place. And it's like we set and forget. We don't actually adjust them if, we've been living there for a number of years, and maybe even just the way that we live has changed, or, our children have got a little bit older, the way that we interact as a family has changed. There's so many things and different dynamics that can happen within a family. And so again, you really just need to think about, what can we do to change what's not working? And within the Styling Masterclass, I really dive deep into the 7 design principles and how you can apply them to your spaces. So I'm going to sort of look at these a little bit in, for you today. Obviously, we go into so much more detail within the course, but just to give you a little bit of an understanding about what I mean about this idea of changing your layouts to improve the way you live. And one example was when we first moved into our current home, I had the sofa orientated to sliding doors, which sort of looked out. And I ended up changing that because, and I had the rug running lengthways because when we first moved in, it was in the spring months and it was kind of quite warm and pleasant. And then as we got into winter, I sort of realized actually, I really want to have the entire width of the sofa facing towards the fireplace, because when it's cold, we run a fire every single day. And obviously, if you have your sofa orientated slightly differently, then it's like the person who's sitting closest to the fire is going to feel nice and toasty. And then those who are furthest away, well, they're going to freeze. So I really wanted to reorientate that. And also, I thought that when we first moved in, there was a shed that was kind of out of that window, the sliding doors. And I thought, oh, we'll get rid of that straight away. And we still have it because of, budget constraints. And so we've painted it and we've done some things to make it look a little bit nicer. But we've improved the sort of the garden and the flowers through that window. But for now, it's staying. And so I didn't really want to have the sofa looking out to the shed. Instead, I orientated the sofa to not only look towards the fireplace so people could enjoy that space, but also to look to these sort of tall windows that look out to a view. And I always think that you should think about, can you frame a view? Can you orientate your furniture or pieces within your home towards a view? So if you're having your breakfast and you're looking outside, it's so much more of an enjoyable experience, even if you're just looking out onto your garden or your herbs or whatever it is, than looking at a building or a brick wall or a tin shed. So, how you orientate your furniture, how you design the layout of your furniture and your room, like I said, it can really improve the way that you live. And more recently, we rearranged one of my daughter's bedrooms. Initially, I didn't want the bed to be under the window. And in general, I don't like putting beds under windows. And I did an interview with Dana Claudat, and she is a feng shui expert, and she confirmed my suspicion that wasn't a good idea. I've also got another interview on feng shui as well, and I'll link to both of those in this episode. But however, when I moved the bed there and sort of switched it with her desk, it actually gave her a much greater sense of space in her bedroom. And it's fascinating because she actually keeps her bedroom so much tidier now. And, these little things can really have a big impact on how you live. And again, when I got this message from Alana, who I mentioned before, I get so many beautiful messages from my students all the time. And, my courses are really not set and forget courses. I always have that interaction with the students, and it's really lovely. And she said, I took a screenshot of this message and I just wanted to quickly read it to you. She said, I've been meaning to message you to say thank you yet again for the courses you've created and the fact that we have access to them over and over. We've recently been working on renovation plans for our next kitchen, and I was completely stumped as it's a square room, hello corner cupboards. I started reading through your course notes again and was inspired to look at our home as a blank canvas and to dream big. I realized that we have a big dining room space that was being underutilized, and long story short, we are flipping our rooms, building a brand new kitchen in our bigger dining room, and our old kitchen will be a lovely space for our dining room. I'm nervous but excited as we move forward with our plans. Thank you for your guidance and inspiration you provide. So again, I just wanted to share this as this idea of, if you think of your home as a blank canvas, if you were to start from scratch, again, in terms of placing furniture or objects in your spaces, then, what would you do differently? And really consider that. And, I would love you to think about, if you were to get better at knowing how to mix up your layouts, what changes could you make in your home and how would it improve how you live? Remember, this is nothing to do with renovating. This really is, so many of these ideas you can apply to whatever type of home you're at, whether it's a place that you plan to renovate one day, maybe it's a rental. Just by changing the layout of your furniture can have a huge impact. Now, the third idea I wanted to share was to elevate your objects. because an object can make or break a room. And styling really is the art of arranging. It's knowing what to place where for maximum impact. So this is a key idea to refreshing your home without the need to renovate. That when you know how to style your spaces, how to arrange what you've got, and how to source the right objects for your spaces, you can really elevate your experience in your home every day. One example of this is when I say like an object can make or break a room, is I've got some Turkish pots in my living room. Now, these are beautiful, original Turkish pots. They've got this beautiful patina and a sort of like painted like effect, which is not perfect. Now, you can kind of go to a lot of hardware stores and garden centers, and you can get these pots for, sometimes quite a bit cheaper, but they just often look like an imitation. I'm not saying that you always have to buy the most expensive thing. Sometimes you can actually buy things like this that are, on Facebook Marketplace, and it's being clever with how you source these objects, but really looking for those pieces that have a sense of history. They really feel like they are, they haven't just been made cheaply or with little thought. And when you introduce these really beautiful objects that are being created intentionally into your home, it really does elevate your spaces. And I have this framework that I teach within the Styling Master called the Signature Sourcing Framework. And it's really about how to filter objects through your signature style and focusing in on what you love, value, and connect to emotionally, with your feelings. So these are questions that you can ask yourself about, what do you really love, and tuning into that, what do you value, and, what creates that emotional connection for you with objects. These are really good questions to ask yourself. And just think about, what are you missing out on by not sourcing intentionally, by not sourcing through the prism of your values and your feelings and what you love. Because when you do, you can really elevate your spaces and enhance your experience in them. All right, so just to quickly recap, I've shared 3 big ideas on how you can refresh your home without the need to renovate. The first is to simplify your spaces, that you really need to edit what you've got to create clarity about what you need to do to improve your spaces. The second idea is to change the layout to improve how you live. And, really how you need to know and understand the 7 design principles and how you can apply them to your spaces. And the third big idea that I shared was to elevate your objects, because they can make or break a room. And that styling is the art of arranging, knowing what to place where for maximum impact. And so really playing with your objects in your spaces so that they become a focal point, particularly the ones that you really love. And, really thinking about, what objects do you have in your space, and being intentional with them, as you are with being intentional with how you create your spaces too. So I would love to hear from you about what's been most invaluable. Please, I truly do love when you send me DMs. So you can always DM me at Natalie Walton on Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time. And, or write a comment in the comments section of this podcast. I always love to read your reviews. And, I know that for me, so many of the podcasts that I listen to and that I know and love have been when a friend has shared them with me. So I would really appreciate if you could share, this episode with someone else who is perhaps wanting to refresh their home, but doesn't have the budget to renovate right now, because I trust that there will be some valuable ideas in this episode to really help them on their journey. So I'm going to give you 3 action items that you can take today, or certainly within this week, to really help you refresh your spaces. So the first one relates to simplifying your spaces. And so I really encourage you to, for those of you who have listened to this podcast for a while, you know that I love a deadline and that a deadline propels us into action. So set a timer for 15 minutes And when you've got that, that clock ticking down, you can do this on your phone, then edit one space in your home today and see how that makes you feel. The second idea that you can take action on is to consider how you can change the layout in one of your rooms and, the impact that it might have. So really sort of think about the way that you use your spaces. And even it can be, like I said, taking one object such as your sofa or a bed or even your dining table and thinking, if I was to reorientate this, what impact would it have? How it would change the feeling and the way that we use this space. And the third idea that you could take action on is to rearrange the objects in one of your spaces. Really focus on choosing a piece that's the hero piece, a piece that you really love, and making it a focal point, and notice the impact that has. As I said, I really wanted to share how styling is your secret weapon to creating a home that you can love every day. And it is certainly how you can refresh your spaces without having to go to a huge cost or investing a huge amount of time. You can literally make changes in about 15 or 20 minutes to your spaces, and it can really change the way you feel and really enhance your spaces too. So if you would love to, implement these ideas and have the framework and have a deadline to actually get it done, because I know, as I said, that's something that really helps me, and it helps me be accountable as well when I kind of join programs or take courses, because I sort of know, well, I've spent this amount of money, so I want to get my money's worth, and it will make me make the time and it will make me show up, because I sort of really want to get the value out of my investment. So if sounds like you and this is something that you want to do, then I'd love you to come and join me in the Styling Masterclass, where I will walk you through everything you need to know to take all of these ideas even deeper and really show you the step-by-step for all of these processes. And, I just want you to take a moment to think about what impact this could have on your spaces, what impact this could have on how you feel about yourself and your confidence and, your creativity as well, and really reconnecting with that, how that could help you in those ways. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen and, listening every week. I really do appreciate it. As I mentioned, if you would love to take these ideas further, then enrollments are open just for a few more days in the Styling Masterclass, and you can look at all the details at nataliewalton.com/the Styling Masterclass. The link is in the show notes. And I will be joining you tomorrow, because this week, as I mentioned, I'll be sharing a series of the biggest lessons that I've learned on my journey as an interior stylist and from working in the industry for the past 15 years. So let me know what you think of this series. Let me know which one has been your favorite one. And I would really love to hear from you. I'm at Natalie Walton on Instagram. And like I said, you can also put a comment in the review section, particularly if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. And this is episode 118. So as I said, love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will connect with you again tomorrow.
All of the links and info for this episode are at nataliewalton.com/podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so that you can get a direct download of the latest episode. And I really appreciate when you take a minute to rate and review, as well as share the love with someone you know who might benefit from this episode, or on social media. If you'd like to access a range of free resources, come visit my website, nataliewalton.com. Thank you to Jaeger Media for producing this podcast. And I would also like to acknowledge the people of the Bundjalung Nation where it was recorded, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I look forward to connecting again soon. I'm Natalie Walton, and you've been listening to Imprint.